Aha, aha. Good morning, world. It's Carpo here. It's cold. Hopefully my thinking will warm me up a little bit. I've been listening to this lecture about World War I, and it was interesting because I was thinking about war, and all of the things that we've done to our children, and making our kids. Back during World War I, they would have children fight fake battles. They would have wars like in the woods after school. These things have been going on for a long time. It was basically early military training. During World War I, they wanted to, have soldiers. People who would protect the country. And this is still going on through video games and whatnot. Kids are preparing for military service, but beyond that, I'm not talking about military here. During that lecture, they were talking about the excitements and the ways that things are perceived as opposed to the way that they actually happen. I'm going to try to get this. This isn't about truth. It's not about knowledge. It's not about any of that kind of stuff. This is about the excitement of day-to-day life and how it affects our ability to function. And what I mean by that is, for example, and I might as well just get this example out. I came to work today and it's been snowing for 4 days. My boss sent us all a text last night saying, "Come into work at your discretion." Most people would take that as, woohoo, I'm not going to work. But I already missed a couple days last week, so I said, all right, I'm just going to go. So I got out on the road, and freeways were clear, but once I got to the back roads up into the hills here, it's just a nightmare. And of course I got stuck out in front and everything. And now I'm in here and I'm getting ready to work, but it's really hard to get motivated to work because it's snowy outside. Now, that's kind of the point of this video. It's strange how, I come to work on Monday, every Monday, it's the same thing. You come to work, it's kind of dark. You get to work one day and it's snowy, and then it starts getting light a little bit earlier because, the snow reflects the light. Everything looks different, fresh, clean. There's different things to do, sweeping off, rather than sweeping the dust off the stairs, it's sweeping the snow off. And just that little bit of climate change makes the whole event seem so much more the work event seems so much more difficult to just go through and do. So I know I'm not putting my words together too well. Morning this, morning this. The good example that I could use was like when you get really excited about something that you're going to do the next day. You're leaving on a trip, and you're going to leave at like 4 in the morning. Let's say, you're going to get up really early and go fishing with your friends, whatever you're going to do. Something you don't usually do. And an extracurricular kind of activity. And you just can't get to sleep because you're so excited about the next day. Or, let's say a kid who says that if it snows, schools might be closed tomorrow. He's all excited and can't sleep wondering if it's going to snow. Hell, even I do that, wondering if it's going to snow. Peeking outside at like 3 in the morning. The slightest changes in our environment makes it very difficult to go along with our normal everyday behaviors. So the reason why I thought that was so important is because for most of us Americans, those who work, full-time jobs and have a family, just the normal life, whatever you might call it. It's easy to get stuck in that, just becoming a cog in the wheel. It's easy to get dragged into everyday, boring, repetitious life, is what I'm saying. And That's not necessarily a bad thing, you know. And that's what I've found, is that we're trying to escape that a lot. We're trying to get away from the boredom by setting up exciting things. We like to go on vacation every year, try to go to somewhere, you know. I like to go to Florida, and I like to get out and be in the sun. You know, when that time starts coming, I start looking forward to it. You know, the week before you go, work feels different. You're getting ready to go on vacation. Likewise, when you get back from vacation, that first week back seems even weirder because you've been in a different plane, a different land, a totally different mindset. So here's what I'm getting at here is the average person who just has a 9-to-5 job and a family, doesn't do a whole lot other than, you know, go to work, come home, do the family stuff. Sometimes that man might look at another person who can't seem to get their shit together and say, why can't they just, you know, get with it and get with the system? You know, get with, not the system as we've created it, but the system of life, you know. Find something that means something to them and pursue it. But that person doesn't understand that the guy who can't get his shit together might be one of those people who's consistently doing something different. Let's take, for example, the person who moves from place to place. And a good example would be children. When children are moved from place to place throughout their youth and they don't get to really, you know, settle down, they don't really make many friends. They tend to be kind of the outcast, maybe. They can't really settle down and figure out what they want to do. And that's because of constant change in environment. So it takes you a while to adapt to your environment. And once you do, then you can start to let down your guard from your environment and start thinking. For example, if I was thinking really deeply about life and walking through the woods, and then I encountered a dangerous situation where I had to walk along a rock cliff, you know, to get around down the path, my thinking ceases, you know, thinking about, oh, you know, the beautiful birds and the bees. All of a sudden my focus becomes that rock ledge, you know. And this is exactly what happens in day-to-day life. A person wants to start to find out what they want and what they want to do, who they want to be, but they don't have the ability to do it because their minds are so scattered. And I know this because I've done it, you know, in the times of my life where there's a lot going on, where, let's say, it seems like the more you have to deal with, the harder it is to deal with it. That's what I'm saying. That's, you know, you lose your job, then you get in an accident with your car, then you're like, oh shit, I need a job, and I gotta fix my car, and my kid's sick, or, you know, and I'm sick, or whatever it may be. And with all these threats to us, it's like impossible for us to like focus and just do what we need to do. And I have a very happy life, very consistent life. It's like I go home, it's always the same thing. Family's there. We work pretty much the same schedules, and I like it that way, you know. People call that the grind. And it is, but everyone has their own grind, you know, whatever it may be. The opposite of a grind would be the chaos, you know. A grind to me just means that you have a system and it's organized so you know what you're going to be doing the next day. So that allows me to start thinking about, say, you know, philosophy. You know, I start thinking about life and what it means to be alive. As soon as something threatening comes into my life, or something I have to deal with, or have an issue, all that goes out the door. I'm not interested in it anymore. And when I look around at people around the world, this is really the main point of this video, was to say that we have to give people a little bit of space, just because they're not, just because they can't, you know, function the way that we do, or do things the way that we do, we assume that maybe they're incapable. But, you know, some of these people, entire nations have chaos, war constantly going on. So if you're in a country that's in war, you know, you're not going to be able to think about, you know, deep thoughts in life. You're going to be thinking about whether a bomb's going to hit you. So that threat builds fear, which fear produces adrenaline and the fight or flight syndrome, which is consistent in people these days. Like, people have fight or flight constantly going on, and this health suffers immensely because of it. One of the things I've found that's the best way for me to deal with stress is to really analyze the situation. Say, is this really that bad? You know, how bad is this? You know, am I going to die from it? And if I do, will it be a peaceful death? You know, that kind of stuff. It's not about, you have to dig your fears down to the root of the fear. And which I think for most people, as I've said before, is the fear of death. And I've heard a lot of people like argue that point by saying, well, I'm not afraid of death. And see, that's not what I mean. I don't mean the actual fear of dying. I don't mean the actual fear of pain or the fear of losing your body. It's all about losing your mind, figuratively speaking. Stepping outside of your consciousness and becoming spirit isn't enough for people. In other words, if a person, say, dies and then their energy is reincarnated into another body, yet their memories are lost, that scares the shit out of people, because that means they have to actually lose everything that they've created in their whole life. And that right there, from what I've found in my searching, is that the root fear of everything is the fear of losing one's mind. And you can look around and see this with Alzheimer's patients. It's devastating. I mean, for family members, not the people who have the condition themselves, because they're not even aware of it half the time, but the people who have to be around them and love them. I would rather have all of my memory gone so I don't remember shit than to start losing pieces of it and saying, oh God, you know, who are you? Are you my son? What? That kind of stuff is scary, you know, because we built this up over a lifetime. And so we get into our consistent grinds and just do our thing, and once that fear of death sets in, all of our thinking goes out the window because we're in fight or flight syndrome. So, oh, I gotta stand up, my back's killing me. It's just the way the world works. It's all or nothing, right? I was supposed to come in last Thursday and help them put this beam in, and I couldn't do it. Too much back pain, and it was snowing. Hope everybody's doing really well today. I'm hoping this shit melts off so I can get my car unstuck. Peace. Everyone have a great, wonderful day.